Kikta, take one, marker.
My name is Emily Kikta, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I started dancing because my mother was a dancer and a ballet teacher in Pittsburgh, and she still is. And when I was a toddler, she just brought me with her to work. So then as I got older, it just became my favorite place to be, where I felt most like myself, even without the dancing. So yeah, I kind of was born into it almost. I first found out that I was accepted as an apprentice into the company. It was around Halloween, actually, and my birthday. And I remember staying up all night the night before in the dorms, stress talking with my now husband, Peter Walker, about what happens if we don't get in the company. We're never going to be friends again. We're never going to see each other again. And then I was so tired for class that next day that I kind of never really went. And then I got called into Kay Mazzo's office, and I was assuming I was in so much trouble. And Peter Martins was in there, and he asked myself and former soloist Claire Kretschmar to join the company for Nutcracker. And I remember calling my mom, and when you get on the phone with your mom, they kind of are just like, hey, and they just dive into their whatever they're talking about. And I remember she was making cookies. And I was like, Mom, shut up. I was like, Mom, shut up. I just got in the company. She screamed, and I remember she dropped the cookies everywhere. And my dad was freaking out because he thought something had happened. So it was a lot of drama, but good drama. It was fun. I've been living in New York for 15 years now. I've lived here for half my life and for all of the formative years of my life. I think moving to New York, just for me personally, made me a more outspoken and confident person than if I had stayed in Pittsburgh, because I was forced to do everything for myself, which was very unnatural to me. I was very shy, very quiet. I think it kind of changed who I was, but I think for the better. And I'm a very independent person and very self-sufficient. And I credit that to living in New York for a long time. I don't know if it's my favorite onstage performance memory, but it's a vivid one. It was one of my very first dewdrops, and one of the angels peed in the first wing, which is where the dewdrop exits every single time. I don't remember how I danced, but I just remember leaping over a pile of pee, and it just nothing else mattered. It was just so funny.
I think most people would know, but could you say that the angels
Are not adults. The angels in the Nutcracker are the youngest dancers, so usually around 8 to 9, and probably their first performance. I'm not a very materialistic person, so I don't know that there are 3 things I can't live without, but I would say I really love that I have my grandmother's engagement ring. It was actually my great-grandmother's from the 1930s, so I love that I have that. And I would say maybe a second thing would be my cat. I really like my cat, and he is very weird.
What's his name?
Lupin. He's so fat. I feel fortunate that I have a lot of people in my life who I really respect, and I respect what they do, and they do very important things. I have siblings in the military, family members who are just very respectable people, and that has given me so much perspective in that what I'm doing is for me, and it's not that it's not important, it's just that there's a bigger world out there. So sometimes when I find myself getting really wrapped up in this ballet world, I just try to take a step back and think of just all of the things that those people in my life persevered through, and that what I'm dealing with is nothing in comparison. But also that's made me find a lot of humor in our life, because it can be very funny what we get so worked up about. It keeps it light here.